Toasts, everyone, to Mr. Davies, whose innovative accounting really saved us this quarter. We almost...
The sound of my wife's laughter still echoes in my head 3 days later, cutting through me like broken glass every time I replay that moment. I'm sitting in my kitchen at 6 in the morning, staring at cold coffee and wondering how 15 years of marriage can die in the span of a single toast. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name is Gregory Alcott, and I used to think I had it all figured out. Successful private equity firm, beautiful wife who's a rising star at one of Boston's most prestigious law firms, nice house in Newton, with the kind of lawn that makes neighbors jealous. The American dream, right? Turns out dreams have a nasty habit of turning into nightmares when you're not paying attention. Dana rushes through the kitchen like a tornado in designer heels, grabbing her travel mug and barely glancing in my direction. "Don't wait up tonight," she says, checking her phone. "Big case prep with the team." "Again?" I ask, though I already know the answer. It's always something these days: late meetings, weekend conferences, urgent client dinners, the kind of schedule that would make a workaholic jealous. "You know how it is, Greg. Partnership doesn't happen by accident." She pauses at the door, finally looking at me. "Speaking of which, don't forget the holiday gala tomorrow night. 7 sharp at the Fairmont." The door slams before I can respond, leaving me alone with my thoughts and the growing suspicion that something's not right in paradise. My phone buzzes. Tommy Carroway, my right-hand man at the firm, and probably the only person in Boston who still tells me the truth. "Morning, sunshine. You sound like hell." "Feel worse than I sound," I mutter. "Dana's got me going to her firm's holiday party tonight." "Ah, the annual lawyer-feeding frenzy. Should be entertaining. You want me to tag along for moral support?" "Thanks, but I can handle a room full of attorneys. How hard can it be?" Tommy's laugh is dark. "Famous last words, boss. Famous last words." The Fairmont's ballroom glitters like something out of a movie, all crystal chandeliers and perfectly arranged flowers that probably cost more than most people's cars. Dana looks stunning in her black cocktail dress, working the room like she owns it, which, given her ambitions, she probably thinks she does. I'm nursing a scotch and making small talk with other neglected spouses when I notice him. Leon Masters, 6'2", perfectly styled hair, and the kind of smile that makes you want to check your wallet. He's Dana's age, maybe younger, and he's been circling her all evening like a shark. "That's Leon," whispers Martha Hendricks, wife of one of the senior partners. "Dana's been mentoring him, such a dedicated young man." Mentoring. Right. The way Leon's hand lingers on Dana's lower back when he guides her through the crowd suggests they're discussing more than legal briefs. The evening crawls by with the usual lawyer small talk, billable hours, recent cases, who's sleeping with whom. I'm starting to think I might survive this torture when Leon taps his champagne glass with a fork. "Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention for just a moment." The room quiets. Dana beams up at him from across the table, and something cold settles in my stomach. "I'd like to propose a toast," Leon continues, his voice carrying that particular brand of arrogance that only comes with an Ivy League education and too much inherited money. "To all the hard-working attorneys in this room, and to the generous spouses who support our careers." Polite applause. I raise my glass, expecting the usual generic nonsense about dedication and teamwork. "But especially," Leon's grin widens, "to the fool husbands who bankroll our success while we steal their wives. Cheers to being too blind to see what's happening right under their noses." The room erupts in laughter. Not polite chuckles, real, genuine laughter. I watch my wife's face, waiting for her to look shocked, to defend me, to do something that suggests she's still the woman I married. Instead, Dana laughs harder than anyone. I sit there, glass halfway to my lips, feeling like I've been punched in the gut. Every eye in the room seems to be on me, waiting for my reaction. The smart money's probably betting on whether I'll make a scene or slink away like a beaten dog. I do neither. I set down my glass, stand up slowly, and look Leon Masters directly in the eye. "Interesting toast," I say, my voice carrying further than I intended. "Remind me to return the favor sometime." Then I walk out, my footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. The parking garage is cold and empty, my breath forming clouds in the December air. My hands shake as I pull out my phone and dial Tommy's number. "Greg, how'd the party go? Remember that favor I did for your brother-in-law in HR at Whitman & Associates?" "Yeah, what about it?" "I need you to dig up everything you can on Leon Masters. And I mean everything. Financial records, employment history, parking tickets. I don't care how small it is." Tommy's quiet for a moment. "What happened?" "Let's just say the evening was educational. How quickly can you get me that information?" "Give me 48 hours. Greg, what are you planning?" I stare up at the hotel, imagining Dana and Leon sharing another laugh at my expense. Payback, Tommy. It's time these people learned what happens when you underestimate the fool with the checkbook. Saturday morning arrives gray and bitter, matching my mood perfectly. Dana's still asleep when I slip out of bed at 5:30, her phone buzzing constantly on the nightstand. Even in sleep, she can't escape her precious career. I make coffee and settle into my home office, surrounded by the financial records that built our comfortable life. 15 years of smart investments, calculated risks, and 18-hour days that turned a working-class kid from Southie into someone who matters in this city. All so my wife could climb the social ladder with another man. The irony isn't lost on me. I've spent my career analyzing companies, finding their weak spots, exploiting their vulnerabilities. Time to apply those same skills to my personal life. Dana's iPad sits on the kitchen counter, synced to her phone and email accounts. She's always been careless with technology, trusting me to handle the technical stuff while she focuses on more important matters. That carelessness is about to cost her everything. The first few emails are routine, case files, meeting schedules, the usual legal jargon that pays for our mortgage. Then I find the folder labeled personal. Can't wait for tonight. Greg's at his poker game until midnight. Dana, sent to Leon 3 weeks ago. Your husband's an idiot if he can't see what's right in front of him. Makes this more fun, doesn't it? Leon's response. He thinks I'm working late again. Poor Greg, so trusting, so stupid. Dana, 2 days ago. My hands clench into fists as I scroll through months of messages, hotel reservations, restaurant bookings, detailed plans for their affair conducted with my money in locations I helped pay for. But the worst part isn't the betrayal. It's the contempt. The casual cruelty in how they discuss me, like I'm some pathetic joke they share between orgasms. Leon says you're planning to move the Brennan Industries account to his portfolio, I read aloud from a message dated last week. Greg will never suspect a thing. He's too busy playing with his numbers to notice real business happening around him. Brennan Industries, my biggest client, worth $12 million in annual fees. They're not just stealing my wife, they're planning to destroy my business. My phone rings. Tommy. Morning, sunshine. Got some interesting reading material for you. I'm listening. Leon Masters, 38, Harvard Law. Daddy's a federal judge. Clean record, but I found some interesting patterns. 3 different firms in 5 years, always leaving right after major client acquisitions. Word is he's got a talent for convincing clients to follow him wherever he goes. What else? This is where it gets fun. Remember Jennifer Walsh from Cromwell and Associates? I remember Jennifer. Brilliant attorney, married to a tech executive, rising star until she vanished from the legal scene 2 years ago. Leon was sleeping with her while she was married. Husband found out, made some calls, and suddenly Jennifer couldn't get hired anywhere in the city. Leon moved on to his next conquest without looking back. charming. What about Dana? Your wife's been busy, Greg. Hotel charges on her credit card, restaurant reservations for 2, and get this. She's been meeting with headhunters from 3 different firms. Looks like she's planning her exit strategy. I lean back in my chair, pieces clicking into place. Dana's not just having an affair. She's orchestrating a complete betrayal. Take my clients, destroy my reputation, and leave me holding the bag while she starts fresh with her new lover. Tommy, I need you to do something for me. Name it. Set up a meeting with Richard Brennan for Monday morning. Tell him I have concerns about the security of his account at Dana's firm. You sure about this? Once you pull that trigger, there's no going back. I think about Leon's toast, Dana's laughter, months of lies and casual cruelty. I'm sure. And Tommy? Start making calls to our other clients who have business with Whitman and Associates. I think it's time they knew about some potential conflicts of interest. The rest of the weekend passes in a haze of planning. Dana barely speaks to me, claiming she needs to prepare for a big case on Monday. She spends most of Saturday at the office and Sunday locked in her home study, emerging only for meals and more lies about her workload. I use the time productively. Phone calls to clients, careful questions about their satisfaction with their legal representation, subtle hints about potential problems. By Sunday night, I've planted enough seeds of doubt to make Monday very interesting for Dana and Leon. You're quiet tonight, Dana says over dinner, picking at her salad. Everything okay? Just thinking about business. You know how it is. She nods absently, already checking her phone for messages. I might be late again tomorrow. This case is really heating up. I'm sure it is. Don't work too hard, honey. Wouldn't want you to burn out. The irony in my voice goes completely over her head. She's too busy texting someone, probably Leon, to notice the trap closing around them. Monday morning, I dress in my best suit and head downtown to my office. The city looks different somehow, sharper and more dangerous. Maybe it's just my mood, or maybe I'm finally seeing Boston the way it really is, a place where the strong survive and the weak get devoured. Tommy's waiting in my office with coffee and a folder thick enough to choke a horse. Richard Brennan's coming in at 10. I also have meetings set up with Harrison Electronics and Midwest Manufacturing for this afternoon. They're very interested in your concerns about Whitman and Associates. Perfect. What about the other thing? Tommy grins like a shark. Leon Masters drives a 2019 BMW M5, license plate Masters 1. Parks in the same spot every day in the Whitman and Associates garage, level 3, space 27. Security cameras have blind spots near the stairwell. I'm not planning anything illegal, Tommy. Of course not. But if someone were to accidentally spill something on that pretty car, or if the tires happen to develop sudden air leaks, well, accidents happen in parking garages all the time. I study the photographs Tommy's provided. Leon's precious BMW, gleaming black with custom rims that probably cost more than most people make in a month. A perfect symbol of his arrogance and entitlement. Set up a distraction for tonight around 8 p.m., something that keeps building security busy on the ground floor. What kind of distraction? Use your imagination. Just make sure no one gets hurt. Tommy nods. And Dana? Leave Dana to me. She's about to learn that playing games with other people's lives has consequences. My phone buzzes with a text from my loving wife. Working late again tonight. Don't wait up. Love you. Love. The word tastes like poison now. I text back. Love you too, sweetheart. Have a productive evening. By tonight, Dana and Leon will discover what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. They think I'm just a fool with a checkbook, too stupid to see what's happening under my own nose. They're about to learn how wrong they are. Richard Brennan is a man who appreciates directness, which makes Monday morning's conversation refreshingly simple. He sits across from my desk, his weathered face growing darker with each document I slide across the polished wood. You're telling me that my attorney is sleeping with her colleague and they're planning to steal my business? I'm telling you that there appear to be some serious conflicts of interest that might compromise your legal representation, I say carefully. What you do with that information is entirely up to you. Brennan studies the printed emails, his jaw working like he's chewing nails. These are from Dana's personal account? Shared device, actually. Amazing what people leave lying around when they trust their spouses. Jesus Christ. He looks up at me, and I see something that might be respect in his eyes. How long have you known? Since Friday night. Leon was kind enough to make a public announcement at their holiday party. And you're just telling me now? Most men would have handled this differently. I lean back in my chair, choosing my words carefully. Richard, I've been managing money for 20 years. The first rule of investing is never make decisions when you're emotional. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and I prefer mine frozen solid. He laughs, a sound like gravel in a cement mixer. What do you need from me? Nothing illegal, nothing that hurts your business. Just move your account to Morrison & Associates by end of business today. They're expecting your call. Consider it done. He stands, extending his hand. Greg, I've always respected you as a businessman. After today, I respect you as a man. The meetings with Harrison Electronics and Midwest Manufacturing go even better. By 3 p.m., I've moved $8 million in annual legal fees away from Dana's firm. It's not enough to destroy Whitman & Associates, but it's certainly enough to get their attention. My phone rings at 4:30. Dana, her voice tight with barely controlled panic. Greg, we need to talk. Something's happened at work. What kind of something? 3 of our biggest clients pulled their accounts today. Just like that, no explanation, no warning. The partners are going crazy trying to figure out what went wrong. I make sympathetic noises while doodling hangman's gallows on my notepad. That's terrible, honey. Any idea what caused it? Nobody knows. It's like they all got spooked by something at the same time. Her voice drops to a whisper. Greg, if we lose any more clients, there might be layoffs. My partnership track could be in jeopardy. I'm sure it will work out, Dana. You're very talented at what you do. The irony is completely lost on her. I have to work late again tonight. The partners called an emergency meeting to discuss damage control. Of course you do. Don't worry about dinner. I'll grab something downtown. You're the best, Greg. I don't know what I'd do without you. Neither do I, sweetheart. Neither do I. Tommy picks me up at 6 in his beat-up Ford pickup, the kind of vehicle that's invisible in downtown Boston traffic. We park 3 blocks from the Whitman & Associates building and walk through the December cold like 2 businessmen heading for dinner. Security guard's name is Mike Torino, Tommy says as we approach the building. Good guy, 3 kids, works 2 jobs to make ends meet. He'll be getting an anonymous call about a gas leak in the lobby at exactly 8 p.m. How do you know all this? I know people who know people. Mike's going to investigate the leak very thoroughly. Probably take him 20 minutes to make sure the building's safe. The parking garage is a concrete tomb, all shadows and echoes. Leon's BMW sits in its designated spot like a black jewel, perfect and untouchable. The vanity plate Masters 1 gleams under the fluorescent lights. Subtle, Tommy mutters, pulling a canvas bag from his jacket. Real subtle. What's in the bag? Nothing illegal. Shaving cream for the windshield, petroleum jelly for the door handles, and a little something special for the exhaust pipe. I don't want to know, do I? Probably not, but I promise you, it won't cause any permanent damage. Just extreme inconvenience and public humiliation. We work quickly and quietly, Tommy handling the technical aspects while I serve as lookout. The security cameras are exactly where he said they'd be, their blind spots creating perfect shadows for our work. There, Tommy says, stepping back to admire his handiwork. One perfectly vandalized vehicle, courtesy of Karma and Petroleum Products. The BMW looks the same from a distance, but up close, it's a masterpiece of petty revenge. The windshield is covered with what looks like snow, but will turn out to be shaving cream mixed with honey. The door handles are slick with petroleum jelly, and stuffed deep into the exhaust pipe is something Tommy calls a little surprise that will make the car backfire like a cannon when Leon tries to start it. Beautiful work, I say, meaning it. How long before he discovers it? Building empties out around 9. He'll probably find it around 9:30, assuming he's not too busy with your wife to notice. The thought of Dana and Leon together still makes my stomach clench, but it's getting easier to channel that pain into something more useful. Anger, determination, the cold, calculating fury of a man who's been pushed too far. Phase 2 tomorrow? Tommy nods. I'll have the HR information by morning. Amazing what people will tell you when you buy them enough drinks. We leave the garage as quietly as we entered, 2 shadows disappearing into the Boston night. My phone buzzes with another text from Dana. Meeting running longer than expected. Probably won't be home until very late. Sorry. I text back. No problem. Hope your evening is everything you deserve. At home, I pour myself 3 fingers of bourbon and settle into my chair to wait. The house feels different now, like a stage set, waiting for the final act of a play I'm finally ready to direct. My phone rings at 9:47 p.m. Unknown number, but I answer anyway. You son of a jerk! Leon's voice is shrill with rage. I know this was you. Leon? Is everything all right? You sound upset. Don't play dumb with me, Alcott. My car, the clients pulling their accounts. This has your fingerprints all over it. I'm sorry, but I have no idea what you're talking about. Are you having some kind of breakdown? You think you're so clever, don't you? Well, 2 can play this game. Dana told me about your little gambling problem, your drinking, the way you treat her at home. Maybe it's time some people heard about the real Gregory Alcott. I laugh, and the sound surprises even me. It's not bitter or angry, it's genuinely amused. Leon, let me give you some free advice. When you're in a hole, stop digging. You have no idea how deep this goes, or how much deeper I'm willing to take it. Is that a threat? It's a promise. Sleep well, Leon. Tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day. I hang up and finish my bourbon, already planning the next move in this chess game. Leon thinks he's dealing with a cuckolded husband having an emotional breakdown. He has no idea he's facing a man who's built his career on destroying people who underestimate him. Dana comes home at 11:30, claiming the partners' meeting ran late. She smells like expensive cologne that isn't mine and has that satisfied glow that comes from good sex and bad decisions. How was your evening? She asks, kissing my cheek like a dutiful wife. Educational, I say. Very educational indeed. Tomorrow, the real fun begins. Tuesday morning brings snow and the kind of bitter cold that makes Boston feel like the edge of the world. Dana's gone before I wake up, leaving only a note about another early meeting and the lingering scent of guilt in our bedroom. Tommy arrives at my office with coffee and news that makes the weather seem tropical by comparison. Leon Masters filed a police report last night. Vandalism, harassment, the whole 9 yards, mentioned you by name. Any evidence? None that matters. Security footage shows 2 unidentifiable figures in the garage, but their faces are never visible. Could be anyone. I nod, unsurprised. Leon's desperation is showing, which means the pressure is working. Desperate people make mistakes, and mistakes create opportunities. What about the HR information? Tommy slides a folder across my desk. Leon Masters has been a very busy boy. 3 sexual harassment complaints in 2 years, all quietly settled with NDAs and cash payments. The firm's been covering for him because he brings in clients, but the partners are getting nervous. Nervous enough to cut him loose? If the right person asked the right questions to the right people, absolutely. Amazing how quickly lawyers abandon their own when liability becomes an issue. My phone buzzes. Text message from Marcus Webb, my oldest friend and someone I've known since college. need to talk. Coffee at Murphy's in an hour. Marcus has been acting strange lately. Canceled dinner plans, avoided my calls, generally treated me like I have some contagious disease. Given recent events, I have a pretty good idea why. Murphy's is a dive bar that serves coffee strong enough to wake a hibernating bear, and it minds its own business about who drinks it. Marcus is already there when I arrive, hunched over a cup like he's trying to divine the future in the caffeine. Greg. He doesn't look up when I sit down. Thanks for coming. What's this about, Marcus? You've been avoiding me for weeks. He finally meets my eyes, and I see something there that makes my stomach drop. Guilt, pity, the look people get when they know something you don't and wish they could unknow it. It's about Dana, he says quietly, and Leon Masters. What about them? Marcus runs his hands through his thinning hair. Christ, Greg, how do I even say this? Everyone knows. The whole legal community, half the business district. Everyone knows about the affair. Everyone except me, apparently. We didn't know how to tell you. Sarah and I, we talked about it for months. Do we say something? Do we stay out of it? What's the right thing to do when your friend's wife is making him look like a fool in front of the entire city? The word fool hits like a physical blow, bringing back memories of Leon's toast and Dana's laughter. How long have you known? 6 months, maybe longer. Sarah saw them together at the Ritz-Carlton, and then Jennifer mentioned seeing them at some restaurant in Cambridge. After that, it was like everywhere we went, someone had another story about Dana and her boy toy. I sit back in my chair, processing this information. 6 months of being the butt of jokes I never heard, the subject of whispered conversations that stopped when I entered a room. The humiliation is almost overwhelming, but underneath it burns something much more useful. Rage. Why are you telling me now? Marcus shifts uncomfortably. Because of what happened yesterday. The clients pulling their accounts, Leon's car getting vandalized. People are starting to talk. They're saying you finally figured it out and you're looking for revenge. And some of us think maybe it's time to choose sides. The way he says it makes me freeze. What does that mean? It means Leon's been making calls, Greg. Telling people you're unstable, dangerous, that you've been threatening him and Dana. He's got some of the guys convinced that you're the problem here, not him. Some of the guys? Marcus won't meet my eyes. Tom Richardson, Dave Phillips, the whole poker group. Leon's been feeding them stories about your marriage, your drinking, your gambling, making it sound like Dana's the victim and you're some kind of abusive husband who can't handle his wife's success. I think about our weekly poker games, 15 years of friendship and shared history, and feel something die inside my chest. These men have known me since college, stood up at my wedding, celebrated my successes, and commiserated over my failures. And they're willing to throw it all away based on the word of a man they barely know. What about you, Marcus? Which side are you choosing? He looks up at me, and I see the answer in his eyes before he speaks. I'm sorry, Greg. I really am. But Dana's firm handles Sarah's family's business, and Leon's made it clear that loyalty has consequences. I can't afford to make enemies right now. I see. I stand up, leaving my untouched coffee on the table. Well, thanks for the heads up. Good to know where I stand. Greg, wait. Don't. Just don't. You've made your choice, Marcus. Live with it. I walk out of Murphy's feeling like I've been gutted with a rusty knife. Losing Dana was devastating, but losing my friends feels like losing my identity. These were the people who defined my place in the world, and they've decided I no longer deserve that place. My phone rings as I reach my car. Tommy. Boss, we might have a problem. Leon's been making calls, spreading stories about you. Word is he's trying to turn your friends against you before you can turn them against him. Too late. He's already succeeded. What do you mean? I tell him about the conversation with Marcus, the poker group's defection, the systematic destruction of my social circle. Tommy listens without interruption, his silence more comforting than any words could be. "So what's the play?" he asks when I finish. "We accelerate the timeline. How quickly can you get me a meeting with the senior partners at Whitman and Associates? Today, if you want. Nothing motivates lawyers like the fear of losing money. Set it up for this afternoon. And Tommy? It's time to take the gloves off. Leon wants to play dirty? Let's show him what dirty really looks like." Back at my office, I spend the morning preparing for war. Financial records, email transcripts, witness statements from clients who've decided to take their business elsewhere. Everything I need to destroy Leon Masters and anyone stupid enough to stand with him. The irony isn't lost on me. Leon thinks he's isolated me, turned my friends against me, left me with nowhere to turn. What he doesn't understand is that I've been alone my entire life. I built my business alone, made my fortune alone, survived in this city's brutal business environment by depending on no one but myself. My friends were a luxury I could afford when life was easy. Now that it's hard, I'm discovering I never really needed them at all. Dana calls at noon, her voice bright with false cheer. "Hi, honey. How's your day going?" "Interesting. Yours?" "Oh, the usual chaos. Listen, I might be late again tonight. Leon and I are working on a new client presentation." "I'm sure you are. Don't work too hard." "You're so understanding, Greg. I'm lucky to have you." Lucky. The word tastes like ashes in my mouth. "Dana, can I ask you something?" "Of course. Do you ever think about what you'd do if you lost everything? Your job, your friends, your reputation, everything that makes you who you are?" There's a long pause. "That's a strange question. Why do you ask?" "Just curious. Hypothetically speaking." "Hypothetically, I suppose I'd rebuild. Start over somewhere else, find new friends, create a new life. People are resilient, Greg. We adapt." "Yes," I say softly. "We do indeed. Have a good afternoon, sweetheart." After I hang up, I sit in my office, looking out at the city that's been my home for 20 years. Boston sprawls below me, cold and gray and unforgiving. A place where the strong survive and the weak become cautionary tales. Dana thinks she's strong. Leon thinks he's untouchable. My former friends think they've chosen the winning side. They're all about to learn how wrong they are. The conference room at Whitman and Associates feels like a courtroom, all polished wood and intimidating portraits of late lawyers. Senior partners James Whitman and Patricia Associates sit across from me, their faces wearing the carefully neutral expressions that come from decades of high-stakes negotiations. "Mr. Alcott," Whitman begins, his voice carrying the weight of old Boston money. "We appreciate you coming in on such short notice. We understand you have some concerns about your wife's professional conduct. Among other things," I slide a folder across the table. "I think you'll find the contents illuminating." Patricia Associates opens the folder, her eyebrows rising as she scans the first few pages. These appear to be personal communications between Dana and Leon Masters. Personal communications discussing firm business, client strategies, and what I believe constitute serious ethical violations. I lean back in my chair, watching their faces. Page 7 is particularly interesting. Whitman finds page 7, and his poker face cracks slightly. This discusses moving the Brennan Industries account to Leon's personal portfolio. Without Mr. Brennan's knowledge or consent, using information obtained through Dana's position as his attorney, I believe that constitutes breach of fiduciary duty, among other things. The two partners exchange glances that speak volumes. In the legal world, ethical violations are cancer. They spread quickly and destroy everything they touch. "What exactly are you asking us to do, Mr. Alcott?" Associates asks carefully. "I'm not asking anything. I'm informing you that as of this morning, 8 of your major clients have terminated their relationships with this firm. They've cited concerns about professional conduct and conflicts of interest." Whitman's face goes pale. 8 clients? Brennan Industries, Harrison Electronics, Midwest Manufacturing, and 5 others. Approximately $12 million in annual billings. I let that number sink in. All of them have specifically requested that neither Dana nor Leon be involved in any future business dealings. This is... Associate struggles for words. This is catastrophic. It's business, I correct her. Your employees chose to play games with other people's money and reputations. This is the natural consequence of that choice. What would it take to resolve this situation? Whitman asks, and I can hear the desperation creeping into his voice. Leon Masters terminated immediately. Dana demoted to associate level with a 2-year probationary period. Full disclosure of their relationship to your professional ethics board, and a formal apology to the clients they betrayed. That's... Whitman starts to object, then stops. We'll need to discuss this with our executive committee. Of course. You have until 5 p.m. today to decide. After that, I start making calls to the Massachusetts Bar Association. I leave them with their folder of evidence and their impossible choice. In the elevator down, I feel something I haven't experienced in weeks. Genuine satisfaction. Not the bitter pleasure of revenge, but the clean satisfaction of a job well done. Tommy's waiting in the lobby, grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. How'd it go? They'll cave before dinner. What about your end? 3 more clients called this morning asking about changing firms. Words getting around that Whitman and Associates might not be the safest place to keep your legal business. We walk out into the December afternoon, Boston's winter wind cutting through our coats like knives. The city looks different now, cleaner somehow, as if the fog of deception has finally lifted. What's next? Tommy asks. Now we wait. Dana should be getting the news right about now. As if summoned by my words, my phone rings. Dana's name on the caller ID, but when I answer, her voice is barely recognizable. Greg. She's crying, great gasping sobs that might have moved me a week ago. Greg, I need to come home. Something terrible has happened. What kind of terrible? Leon's been fired. The partners called me in and they know everything. About us, about the clients, all of it. They're demoting me, Greg. After everything I've worked for, they're destroying my career. That does sound terrible. How do you think they found out? I don't know. Someone gave them emails, private conversations, things that should have been confidential. They're treating me like a criminal. I make sympathetic noises while watching the Whitman and Associates building across the street. Through a 5th-floor window, I can see figures moving around what's probably a conference room. Emergency meetings, damage control, careers being decided by committee. I'm coming home, Dana continues. We need to talk, Greg. I need to explain some things. Of course, sweetheart. I'll be waiting. She hangs up, and I turn to Tommy. Phase 3? Already in motion. Leon's going to have a very interesting conversation with some former clients this evening. Turns out sexual harassment victims are more willing to talk when they know their NDAs might not be enforceable. The drive home takes me through the neighborhoods where I've spent the last 15 years building a life that turned out to be an illusion. Past the restaurant where Dana and I celebrated our anniversary last month, while she was already planning her exit strategy. Past the park where we used to walk on Sunday mornings, discussing dreams that were apparently never shared. All of it feels like ancient history now, artifacts from someone else's life. Dana's car is in the driveway when I arrive, and I can see her silhouette through the kitchen window. She's pacing, phone pressed to her ear, probably calling Leon or one of her few remaining allies. I sit in my car for a moment, preparing for the final scene of this particular drama. Everything that happens from here determines not just my future, but the future of everyone who chose to betray me. The front door opens before I reach it. Dana stands there in her work clothes, makeup streaked with tears, looking smaller and more fragile than I've seen her in years. Greg, she says, and her voice breaks on my name. Hello, Dana. Rough day at the office? She flinches like I've slapped her. Can we sit down, please? I need to explain. We settle into the living room that once felt like home and now feels like a stage set. Dana perches on the edge of the couch, hands twisted in her lap, while I take my usual chair and wait. I know how this looks, she begins. I know you must hate me right now, and you have every right to, but it's not what you think, Greg. It's not that simple. Really? Because it seems pretty simple to me. You've been having an affair with Leon Masters while planning to steal my clients and destroy my business. Did I miss any complexity? Her face crumbles. You know everything. I know enough. The question is, what are you planning to do about it? I'm going to fight this, she says, and for a moment, I see a flash of the ambitious woman I married. The firm had no right to demote me based on my personal relationships. I'll file a grievance with the Bar Association, maybe even sue for wrongful termination. I lean forward, studying her face. With what money, Dana? Your legal fees alone will cost more than your new salary, assuming you still have a job by the end of the week. I have savings. And Leon, he's already talking to other firms. We'll land on our feet. Leon. I can't help but laugh. Dana, Leon Masters is finished in this city. By tomorrow morning, every major law firm in Boston will know exactly what kind of man he is. The sexual harassment complaints, the client theft, the professional misconduct, it's all going to come out. The color drains from her face. What are you talking about? I'm talking about consequences, sweetheart. You and Leon thought you were playing games with some fool who'd never fight back. Instead, you picked a fight with someone who's very good at destroying people who cross him. She stares at me like she's seeing a stranger. This is you. You're behind all of this. I'm behind protecting my interests and punishing people who tried to steal from me. If that makes me the villain in your story, I can live with that. Dana stands up, pacing to the window and back. What do you want, Greg? Money? An apology? What will it take to make this stop? Stop? I shake my head. Dana, this isn't something that stops. This is something that ends. Your career at Whitman & Associates is over. Your relationship with Leon is over, and our marriage is definitely over. You can't just destroy my entire life because I made a mistake. I didn't destroy anything. You did that all by yourself when you decided to laugh at Leon's toast instead of defending your husband. Everything that's happened since then is just the natural consequence of that choice. She sinks back onto the couch, finally understanding the scope of what she's lost. What happens now? Now you pack your things and find somewhere else to live. The house is in my name, bought with my money, so you'll need to make other arrangements. Greg, please, we can work this out. Marriage counseling, therapy, whatever it takes. I made a terrible mistake, but we can fix this. I look at this woman I once loved, this stranger wearing my wife's face, and feel nothing but pity. Dana, you didn't make a mistake. You made a series of calculated decisions designed to humiliate and betray me. The only mistake you made was underestimating the consequences. My phone buzzes with a text from Tommy. Leon's been arrested. Sexual assault charges from 2018. Victim decided to come forward when she heard he'd been fired. I show Dana the message. She reads it twice, her face going gray. It's over, I tell her gently. All of it. Your career, your lover, your plans for the future. It's all over. The only question now is whether you're going to accept that with some dignity or make things even worse for yourself. She looks up at me, tears streaming down her face. I never meant for it to go this far. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did hurt me, Dana. You hurt me in ways I'm not sure I'll ever recover from, and now you get to live with the consequences of that choice. I stand up, suddenly exhausted. I'm going to stay at a hotel tonight. When I come back tomorrow, I expect you to be gone. We can work out the divorce details through lawyers. Greg, wait. No, we're done talking. We're done pretending. We're done with everything except the paperwork. I walk toward the door, then pause and turn back. Oh, and Dana? You might want to call your friends and let them know what's happened. I'm sure they'll be very interested to hear how this all turned out. The last thing I see is her face, finally understanding that the fool she married was never a fool at all. Just a man who'd finally had enough.